Let's start the podcast. You're listening to episode 4 of Off the Cliff Sports. I'm your host, Cliff Jacks. Thank you for all the listeners we've had so far with this podcast. We do really appreciate it. Please reach me at offthecliffsports.podbean.com. Twitter, you can reach me at @cliff_sports. You can email me at offthecliffsports@gmail.com. Your comments make me happy. That lets me know that someone's listening and someone likes what I'm doing. That's the most important part of all this to me. We're going to get into Super Bowl 53. I have a few callers that's going to give us their picks for the game. We're going to talk about Roger Goodell a little bit. We'll mix in a little NBA action also today. Let's go ahead and get into it. Just to recap a little bit of the things that happened last week, Tiger Woods, our favorite golfer, played in his first tournament of 2019. He actually didn't play that well. The first 2 days kind of sunk him, and he was really out of contention going into the weekend, although he did make the cut. He finished the tournament 10 under par, 11 behind the winner, Justin Rhodes, in this tournament. But we all know for Tiger, it's all about the majors. All we want to see him do is win a couple majors and become, without a shadow of a doubt, the best golfer of all time. I'm just happy that he was able to, after all the back injuries and all the controversy, he was able to get back out there. It actually even looks like he's having fun at times, which, as we all know, the old Tiger was very arrogant, didn't really talk to people, but I think he's changing his ways a little bit. So I'll be watching. If you don't watch, listen to the podcast, and I'll definitely give you updates. That's what Cliff Jack does. Also, last week, we had the NFL Pro Bowl. Let's go ahead and say it. This needs to stop. This was the worst Pro Bowl I think I ever watched a few plays of. I didn't watch the whole thing. I couldn't watch that type of trash. I could have went and watched Pee Wee football and was entertained way better than what we saw this past Sunday. The AFC did win since they kept the score 26-7. It was rainy, it was wet in Orlando. A lot of people say they want to see it moved back to Hawaii, but me personally, I want to see it ended altogether. At one point in the game, they had offensive players lined up on the defensive end. Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott was playing defensive end at one point in the game. I'm like, this is definitely just a mockery of the NFL, if you ask me. I know the players were out there having fun, enjoying each other, which is great and all, but there's other ways they could have had fun and enjoyed each other. Saturday, the skills competitions were exciting. That was fun. But the game itself, a waste of a lot of people's time. They really got to figure out something about this Pro Bowl weekend and what to do to succeed in getting that fixed. All the players, I think, get paid a little bit. It's not like it's major money for them for the Pro Bowl, but for that to be on TV and people to have to endure that, all the old legends talked about it. They all were like, this is a travesty. I mean, you can at least try to play the game somewhat. You don't have to go full force hitting everybody as hard as you can and so forth, but that was very embarrassing if you ask me. I wonder what the NFL and their wonderful commissioner says about that. NBA action, everything is going along as planned. Last week, Golden State pretty much said, hey, we're the best team in this part of the time frame, this 4 or 5 year span. DeMarcus Cousins has come back healthy for the most part, and he's made them what everybody was afraid that he was going to do, which makes them pretty much unbeatable. With Cousins on the court and his size, his rebounding ability, his scoring ability, Golden State is just too good for anybody. We definitely are going to need like 2 or 3 superpower teams to even come close to beating that team that they have. So I don't know what the NFL, I guess NBA, the Eastern Conference pretty much is just playing for second place. And the other teams in the West, their objective, I guess, is to get to the Western Conference Finals, and they can say they had a successful season. No one's beating that team. As long as they continue to halfway play, it's going to be hard pressed for anybody to get a W. I think the Warriors could sweep the playoffs, undefeated in every round. If they actually put the pedal to the metal, they're gonna not lose a game in the playoffs. That's what I see coming. Let me know what you see. You know how to reach me. Twitter, Gmail, Podbean. Let me know what you think about it. NBA All-Star picks was made. The starters were picked. That's going to be something for us to talk about too. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the podcast. We'll be back with you in a moment. Cliff Jack's back with you here on Off the Cliff Sports. I have a young man on the phone, Mo. Mo actually played ball with LT at TCU back in the day. Mo, who you got winning the Super Bowl this year?
Man, it's gonna be a good Super Bowl. I'm gonna go with never betting against number 12. So I got the Patriots in a close one because all these Super Bowls tight. So I got the Patriots winning the Super Bowl.
What score are you gonna put on that?
Ooh, score. I'm gonna go 31-27 Pats. Brady comes back in the final 2-3 minutes of the game, works that magic.
All right, so I know that means you're going to have Brady as your MVP also, right?
Brady will be winning his 6th MVP. Yes, sir.
All right, there you go. You guys heard from Mo, a former backup to LT at TCU. We're going to have a few more callers through the episode here, so look forward to listening to some more picks on Super Bowl 53. So now we're going to get into another segment here. And you know what time it is? It's time for that segment. We like to call this segment Top of the Cliff. And normally with Top of the Cliff, we bring you a person that possibly did something erratic, something crazy. But today we're just going to bring you the NFL Commissioner, Roger Goodell. Goodell does work for the owners. That's true enough. They pay him $40 million a year to make decisions on NFL games that sometimes you wonder, how much does he really know about this game? This is Super Bowl weekend, so of course Roger Goodell had to speak a little bit. He made some very stupid comments, if you ask me. The biggest of those comments was about Colin Kaepernick. The commissioner said that if the NFL teams thought Colin Kaepernick could play, he would be signed. Ludicrous, ATL reference. There's no way, one, the fact that there's a collusion lawsuit going on, that any NFL team is going to sign Colin Kaepernick. Two, everybody knows Colin Kaepernick has been blackballed by the NFL, and his chances of playing this sport in the US of A is slim to none. But Roger Goodell also fails to realize that we know Nathan Peterman played football in the NFL this year. Blake Bortles played football in the NFL this year. Some quarterback for the Carolina Panthers that I've never heard of played football in the NFL this year. So there's only probably 15 quarterbacks that's better than Colin Kaepernick in the league. So that means he could start for half the league. And there's no doubt in my mind, and probably the majority of football watchers out there, that he could play. He has the running ability. He has one of the livest arms in the game. And he's proven, taking the 49ers to the Super Bowl, NFC title game, he's proven that he has skills and can make things happen. But Roger Goodell wants to try to save face and make statements that's going to make him look good in the face of the NFL owners. Roger Goodell, I want you to join me at the top of the cliff. Now, what you do once you get to the top of the cliff, that's up to you. But this segment is for you. Guys, we're going to come back and talk about Super Bowl 53. We're going to get into some of the stats, some of the interesting parts of Super Bowl 53, which is being held in Atlanta, Georgia. Hot Atlanta, as some people like to call it. And from what I see on TV, because I'm not there, there's been parties every night. People are spending a lot of money, and people seem to be having a really good time. Atlanta is a great city, and I think this Super Bowl has actually already been a success. Now, whether the game proves the same thing or not, it's remained to be seen. I do know the Atlanta Falcons said that you can get hot dogs for $2, beers for $5. That is probably the cheapest in the NFL. That alone is worth buying a ticket to the game. We're going to be back in a moment. Cliff Jacks, Off the Cliff Sports. See you in a minute. I got the good old buddy A-Train called in again to give us his Super Bowl pick for the week. Let's see what he got to say about Super Bowl 53.
Hey, his pick's going to be 23-21 New England Patriots. The Rams defense is nasty, but the New England Patriots offense is so complex. Brady, they'll hit you from any angle. So whatever works for you, they'll switch it up, and then they'll attack. So they're going to find a way to pull it out. So
there you have it, 23-21 Patriots for A-Train. Who's the MVP?
MVP of the game is going to be Brady, of course. You know how that goes. They're going to give it to him, say he's the GOAT, all that good stuff. But, yep.
Got more picks coming your way soon. Let's get into this Super Bowl. Super Bowl 53, Atlanta, Georgia. We have one team who is coming to its third consecutive Super Bowl, the New England Patriots, led by a future Hall of Fame quarterback, Tom Brady, and one of the best, if not the best, coach of all time, Bill Belichick. On the other side, we have the Los Angeles Rams, formerly from St. Louis, who last appeared in the Super Bowl in 2001. That year, they actually lost the Super Bowl to Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. The Rams won the Super Bowl back in 1999, featuring the greatest show on turf, Kurt Warner, who only got the starting position when the previous starter, Trent Green, injured himself in training camp that year. But that was one of the most exciting teams of all time, or at least one of the most exciting teams that I've seen in my time frame. This Super Bowl will be Tom Brady's 9th Super Bowl. That's absurd. One man has been to 9 Super Bowls. That's why most call him the GOAT. Some of us, including myself, say he's one of the best quarterbacks. I can't really give him the best quarterback title because Joe Montana was 5-0 in the Super Bowl. My favorite quarterback of all time, who does have a losing record in the Super Bowl, John Elway, but I still think he was one of the best quarterbacks of all time because of his passing ability, his running ability, his intuition. It's top, bar none. Bill Belichick is coming into a Super Bowl with 2 weeks to prepare for Jared Goff and the Rams. Normally, you would say 2 weeks for Belichick means disaster for the other team. This year, I'm not sure, though, because last year, Philadelphia scored over 30 points on Belichick, even though he had 2 weeks to prepare. He did, however, put together a scheme against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs that stifled them for a whole half of football, which, if they had did anything in that first half, we may be having 2 different teams in the Super Bowl right here. Belichick, myself, I think is one of the best because his demeanor, his expectation of his coaches and his players is so detailed. I don't care who you are. When you're on that team, it's like everyone gets it. They all know the plays. They all know the scheme. And they execute it. So, Sean McVay on the other side, a young gentleman coaching in the Super Bowl, which is It's funny. I'm older than him, but he's coaching in the Super Bowl. He has an energy about him that his team believes in, his team trusts. That energy could get the Rams to this title, but the old guy on the other side, it's going to be tough to beat. The Rams are going to have to really play to win this Super Bowl. Las Vegas has New England favored by 2.5 points, which when the playoffs started, if these two teams had met, everything looked like the Rams were going to be favored. But after what the Patriots did on their route to the Super Bowl, people are going with the team that's been there, that's done that. So I see a lot of interesting takes. I personally believe Rob Gronkowski is going to be a big part of this Super Bowl. I think he could be the difference in what makes the Patriots champs and what sends the Rams home second place. The Patriots offensive line is definitely going to be tested with Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh. So I think that Dante Fowler at that defensive end position, he could have a big game. If he can have a big game, that can make a major difference in what the outcome of this game is going to be. I think that there's no way that the Patriots is going to let Aaron Donald be the success in this game and get to Brady. I'm going to give you guys my pick a little later on in the episode. We'll definitely get my pick in, and I'll let you know who I think is going to come out victorious in Super Bowl 53. We'll talk about that a little later. We also had in a little NBA action. We need to put a little NBA in this podcast. The All-Stars were announced, and pretty much it was the same people you thought would be All-Stars. The starters, LeBron James, you got Kevin Durant, you have Joel Embiid on the other side, you have the Greek Freak as the captain from the Eastern side. Of course, Steph Curry is an all-star starter. Kyrie Irving's a starter. So you have the names. But I want to talk a little bit about who do you think should not have been a starter. On the Eastern side, out of their 5 starters, Kemba Walker is the name that honestly stood out as, Kemba Walker's having a great year. But is he really a starter for the All-Star game? Personally, I would unfortunately have to say no. Kemba has a nice game and all, but I don't think he would have been the guy I would have as the starter for the All-Star game. I mean, I think there are a few other players that possibly could have been deserving, but I'm just an average guy, so what do Cliff Jacks know? On the Western side, where the controversy is going to come in, and this is totally my opinion, please comment and give me your opinion of this. I honestly think LeBron James, the king, should not have been an all-star starter. Yes, I've said it. I believe LeBron James should not have started in the all-star game. Reason why, LeBron James has missed a third of his team's games this year. A third. I think if you're starting in the all-star game, you would have had to play in at least over 50%, over 75% of your team's games to be considered an all-star starter. Now, I know he's the king. He's the best player in our league. But I would not have started LeBron in the All-Star game. Let me know what you think about that. That's my take. Because of the fact of his injury and the fact of all the games he's missed. That's the only reason why. Because I know he's the best. But let's be fair here. You had some players who've been unbelievable this year. Now, they're not LeBron, but you have LaDuca from Dallas. You have LaMarcus Aldridge from San Antonio. Those boys have been there every night, playing every night, and they probably should have got some consideration. Please comment. Let me know what you think. Hit me on Podbean. Hit me on Gmail. Hit me on Twitter. Let me know if I'm crazy and talking out the side of my head, or let me know if, hey, you were spot on with that. Other NBA news that definitely we should get into. Anthony Davis has requested a trade from the New Orleans Pelicans. Anthony's Day Anthony Davis' agent, who of course is Rich Paul, part of Clutch Sports, part of the LeBron James entourage, pretty much went out publicly and said, hey, Anthony Davis wants to be traded. Anthony Davis was fined $50,000 for that because that's against the rules. Pretty much, AD wants to play with LeBron James in in LA. He's made it clear to all the teams he wants to play in LA. He does have 1 year left on his contract after this season, so whomever New Orleans trades him to, they have to know they get him for 1 year. Now, if I'm New Orleans, you know the Lakers want him, but there's other teams out there that might can give you more than the Lakers can give you. So me personally, I'm gonna do one or two things. I'm gonna either trade him to one of those other teams that can give me something that I want, or I might, out of spite, trade him to somewhere he definitely don't want to go and make him have to spend a whole year in a place that he's not happy being in. Now that's out of spite. Shouldn't do that. But let's just be real. When you sign your contract, you know what you're getting into. When Anthony Davis signed that $100 million deal a few years back, he knew what team New Orleans had. He knew the chances of New Orleans going further in the playoff, but he signed anyway. So, I mean, you're under contract, play your contract out. I mean, you could definitely ask the team to trade you, but if they say, no, we don't want to do that right now, you're under contract. You have to deal with it. Some contracts aren't fair, but no one forces you to sign a contract. Anthony Davis could have opted out after his first contract, went somewhere he felt comfortable with, and we wouldn't be in this situation. I mean, I love the King because he is the best player in our league, but sometimes I do see LeBron, you always looking for help to try to get over the hump. Now, he started this superpowers team thing, but unfortunately Golden State made it work the best. They made it work for them. Their players are unselfish. They play together. They had Kevin Durant skip town in OKC to run over there to join them even. So things worked out a little better for them than it did for LeBron. Now, I hope AD gets to LA since that's where he wants to be at. But I just don't want him to get there on his terms, unfortunately. And that could be sour of me, but hey, I mean, I'm just looking at it for if I were an owner. The players got to realize before they start looking at them dollar figures and making these bold jumps and signing these contracts, sometimes waiting is the best option, just like LeBron James. LeBron James doesn't jump into anything until he's ready to make a move, just like how he opted out of his last couple of contracts. He played his contracts out, opt out, and he moves on. Players got to start being a little smarter with how they make their moves and do their business. Hopefully, Rich Paul can help AD get to that point in his career, help him to make some better moves and do some better decision making. I tell you, the NBA, it's been pretty exciting this year. All the scoring and all definitely has me excited. Seeing scores of 140 and 130, it's kind of exciting. Up and down action makes things for a better NBA. At the end of the day, that team up there in Oakland, soon to be San Francisco, that's the team to beat, and they're going to be on top this year. Now, whether or not they can keep their team together next year is a different story, but we shall see as time goes on. We're going to come back here. Got another caller calling in. We're going to get his Super Bowl picks, and we're going to get my Super Bowl picks out there for you as well. We'll see you, or we'll talk to you in a minute on Off the Cliff Sports. This is Cliff Jacks. Cliff Jacks back with you here on Off the Cliff Sports. I have Executive Chef on the line with us here, and he's going to give us his take for the upcoming Super Bowl and who he thinks is going to win. What you got for us, Chef?
Cliff, I want to thank you for inviting me on your show. And I think everybody's going to be a little shocked at what I say, but I don't think Brady's going to get his other ring. I think the Rams are going to come out and be forceful. I don't think anybody this season has really hit the Patriots in the mouth. I think the Rams have the front seven to disable the things that they like to do, the short passes and things like that. It ain't going to happen because they're going to get to the quarterback. So my score prediction is going to be 27-24.
27,
with the Rams on top.
27-24. So you don't believe that Tom Brady and the mystique that is Tom Brady can outwit good old Wade Phillips?
I'll just take it from a great one-puncher named Mike Tyson and tell you this. Everybody got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. So I don't think that the Patriots can be able to handle that rush. And this is the first time they've played a team with a back four that can actually go man-to-man with Talib and Robbie Coleman and all those guys that can go one-on-one with their receivers. It's no elite receivers. I mean, we both know that Cordell got cut at all the places he went to because he ain't got no hands. Running fast on the straight line don't mean nothing.
That's true. I believe that you say that. Now, the little young kid, though, he was talking his mouth. Do you think that's a good idea to be running your mouth when you got to go up against Tom Brady?
I don't. I really wish his coaches would have shut him down before he even got to that point. But now it's put up or shut up. You run your mouth and say that he's old and he can't do this. Well, it's time for y'all to, do their part. And if they can, and if Wade actually goes back and look at the tape of how he beat him with the Broncos and they brought pressure from the outside. And one of the things they did in that game with the Broncos, they brought all the pressure on one side, basically an edge rush. So I hope that they can do that and stay away from, sitting back in a two-man zone because we saw what happened to Kansas City.
That's true. I definitely appreciate you calling in and your picks here. One question from the NBA for you, because I know you're a sports fazant. Who do you think out of the 10 NBA All-Starters that should not have been a starter?
East or West?
Out of all 10 of them, all 10 starters.
Honestly, if I look at it, I would want to say that I don't think really and truly the person that I look at on the east side of it, I'll say this, and it's going to be controversial. I don't think nobody on the East deserves to be. We both know that it's a one-sided West, but if I were to say it, I think that on the West side, Jokic should have been a starter over Anthony Davis. A lot of people are going to think I'm crazy, but I think he's put up better numbers and did more for his team.
Oh, there you have it, guys. Now, Anthony Davis, I don't think started. I don't think he's a starter.
Yeah, I'm not for certain.
You got LeBron, Paul George, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and who am I missing on the West?
I want to say Davis started as center, but I could be wrong. But I think Jokic being a reserve is a little bit disrespectful. But I also think that the people in the East. It's really, to me, it's no superstars in the East. I think we have a lot of great players. And the closest thing to a superstar that could take over a game and really own it is Giannis.
What about Kyrie? Kyrie said he wanted his own team.
Well, all I can say to that is he wouldn't be calling, having midnight call with LeBron if he wanted his own team.
Point taken, sir. Thank you for your call, and I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. Enjoy Super Bowl 53, and by all means, comment on what I say. If you dislike it, if you do like it, we take comments however they come. And now to give you my Super Bowl pick for the week. I've went back and forth a little bit on what I think was going to happen in the game, who I think was going to make the big play. I honestly think that the Rams have the ability on both sides of the ball to win this game. They have a nice front four. They have some athletic, fast linebackers. They have Aqib Talib at one corner, Marcus Peters at the other. They have Johnson at the safety spot, who's an all-around stud. On the offensive side of the ball, they got Ty Gurley. They got C.J. Anderson, who's rejuvenated. They have receivers and a young quarterback who's playing very well. I mean, these 2 years since he's gotten rid of Jeff Fisher as a coach, he's become that quarterback that was a top 5 pick for a reason. But at the end of the day, on the other side of the ball, you have number 12, who's been to 9 Super Bowls. Number 12 has won 5 Super Bowls. With number 12, he has one of the best coaches of all time. So there's a lot the Rams have going for them, but they don't have the best coach of all time, and they don't have number 12 on their team. I honestly think Rob Gronkowski is going to make some big catches in this game. I'm going to go on a limb and say he's going to have a 2-touchdown game for the Patriots. I actually would prefer the Rams to win because I'm not a New England fan. I've never been a New England fan, but for Super Bowl 53, I'm going to pick the Patriots to win the game 32-24. And, of course, Tom Brady will be the MVP. Now, the big question, is he going to ride off into the sunset after this year? He said no, but once he wins that trophy, you never know. You never know how that's going to turn out. I'm going to come back. We're going to have our quick takes. We're going to get the quote of the day in, and we're going to let you guys get out of here. Off the Cliff Sports. Talk to you in a minute. Cliff Jacks back with you here on Off the Cliff Sports. Remember, OfftheCliff-Sports.podbean.com. At Twitter, our handle is @Cliff_Sports. Email us, OfftheCliff-Sports@gmail.com. Give us some information. Talk to us, and we'll talk back to you. So we're going to get into our quick takes this week. It was kind of a quiet week, of course, because it's Super Bowl week, so everything's focused on the big game. But a couple quick takes for us this week. 1, women's tennis. The U.S. have a pretty good amount of star power for its women's tennis. But everyone needs to look out for the young lady Naomi. She won the Australian Open this past week, and she looks like she has the chance to be the next great tennis star. She's so young, and her athletic ability, she has power, she has speed. She could be the thing that stops Serena Williams from getting those majors that she needs to get to cement herself as the greatest women's tennis player of all time. So all you women tennis players need to look out for Naomi, because that young lady is playing out of control right now. She is one of the best at it at an early age. Quick take number 2, the Pro Bowl. This is my opinion. I think they should end the Pro Bowl actual game. The Saturday events are great. The Saturday events where you got the AFC competing against the NFC, that stuff is awesome. I think everybody likes that stuff. But what I would actually do for the Pro Bowl is the players that are picked for the Pro Bowl, I would set up some type of thing where they can actually use that Sunday afternoon for the Pro Bowl to speak to the youth in different cities around the U.S. Go out, speak to the youth, sign a few autographs, and touch so many more people. And I think it will be, 1, great for them to give back. 2, it'll be great for the youth to see these NFL star players. I think that would make such more effect than the Pro Bowl game that we saw this last weekend. That was terrible. The NFL should be ashamed for the product they put on the field. And I think that time could be used to help inspire our youth, who is the future for all of us. Also on quick takes I got for you this week, This has been one of the coldest weeks in the United States ever. A lot of the northern states have been in temperatures below zero. How do you get below zero? I don't know. But Chicago, Minnesota, Milwaukee, those type of places have been freezing people's butts off. I hope all you people that live up north stay warm, stay inside as much as you can, and hopefully this freezing cold front will get through soon and you guys can get back to normal life, because there's no way at minus 50 degrees we can call that normal life. I'm sorry for you guys. I wish I could do something to help you out, but all I can do is give you a podcast to listen to while you're in the house. All you guys down there in Atlanta, Georgia, have fun, but be safe. Atlanta's a great city, but as some of the rappers stated on their Instagram, don't leave your car running or your keys in it, because someone may borrow your car. And be careful who you talk to on the streets of Atlanta. You never know who that really is. I'm going to leave you guys, of course, with a quote of the day, like we always do here. We're going to get you a quote to try to get you ready, energized. And this quote comes from Morgan Wooten. You learn more from losing than winning. You learn how to keep going. Again, you learn more from losing than winning. You learn how to keep going. It's been great talking to you guys. I hope you continue to listen to Off the Cliff Sports. Enjoy Super Bowl Sunday. I'm going to enjoy it with my family and friends. Nice speaking with you. Talk to you next week on Off the Cliff Sports. Good night.